So in this video, we will learn that how TOEFL speaking is divided into four different sections. It has four questions. TOEFL speaking has four questions. The total time for which it will last is 18 to 20 minutes. The first question, it is a statement-based question in which you will get whether you agree with something or disagree with the idea. In the second question, it's a mixture of your picture followed by an audio. Generally, the second question is about university or something related to your academics, and it is going to be some changes in your university or something like this. Then the third question, in which there's going to be a picture again and an audio, but then the difference in second and third is in third one, the picture is followed by an audio, which is the example of what you read. Finally, in the fourth question, it is only audio in which the speaker will talk about the benefits or something, or it's the adaptations of animals or something. So, in TOEFL speaking, we have four questions. They go one by one, of course. First question, second, third, and fourth. And apart from this, it's very easy. Try to speak as naturally as you can. You'll be learning how TOEFL's first question is being done. uh, you will get to see the image that whether you agree with this or disagree with this. Like this is a sort of question you will get in the exam. And for like just an example, this is one of the recent questions my students have got in their exam. Is it a waste of time for university students to study a variety of courses? Whether do you agree with this or disagree with the statement? So in the exam, you need to read the question and understand whether you agree with this or disagree with this. Again, we will read the question. Is it a waste of time for university students to study a variety of courses? You'll get 15 seconds to prepare and 45 seconds to respond back. So after 15 seconds, once you're done preparing, you'll hear a beep sound. And after that beep sound, you need to start speaking. And when you start speaking, you should imagine that someone is listening to you, an examiner is listening to you, because this is not some software which is checking your answers, it's the examiner, the real person is checking your response. So you need to speak properly. And for example, this is a sample response we have. So I agree that it's a waste of time for students to study a variety of courses because they should focus on only a few subjects at a time, the core subjects, and not several subjects. So when I'm speaking, we have to make sure that I am taking certain pauses in between. There is no need to speak like a robot. No, you're not talking to a software. You're talking to a human being who is listening to you at the other end. So make sure that you are confident enough on your span and you're imagining in the right way, as I informed just a few seconds ago. So when you are speaking, take natural pauses. There is no need to speak in a continuous manner. Take natural pauses in between. This is how you should answer the question. I agree that it's a waste of time for students to study a variety of courses because they should focus on only a few subjects at a time, the core subjects, and not several. This will help them to properly study some subjects. For example, in my college years, I used to learn only computer science related subjects. And I was fully focused on my subjects and not other subjects like English, philosophy, or other subjects. So, this is how you should read a response. This is how you should answer. This is a natural way of answering a question. Plus, when you are speaking, if it's possible for you, try to use these three words in between, like and, but, basically is a kind of word that you can start your response also with. Basically is a very common, we can say it's a kind of connector we use in English. Also, is a very common connector we have. Like, we just say it. Like, for example, in this video itself, if you re-listen to this video, you'll see how many times I have said this. It's a natural English, a connector sort of we use when we speak. So make sure when you're responding to the first question, you're taking care of these little points that you are answering a question, someone is listening to you, and accordingly you have to respond rather than, speaking so fast. I agree that it's a waste of time for students to study a variety of courses because they should focus only on a few. No, take a deep breath. Your mind should think, you have to speak and speak as naturally as you can. You should be natural when you're speaking. Again, this way. I agree that it's a waste of time for students to study a variety of courses? Because, take a pause here, because you're giving reasons. They should focus on only a few subjects at a time, the core subjects, and not several. So, again, so also you can use it's a natural connector again. So, this will help them to study properly. Some subjects, they should focus only on a few subjects at a time and not all subjects. So, this is how you should speak in the exam. And yes, you'll get 45 seconds. The software will record you, and then afterwards, the next question will start. So, that's all about the first question. So in this video, we will cover how we attempt second question of TOEFL speaking. The first question is very simple. In that, we just read a statement and we answer the question. It's all our own viewpoints. However, in the second question, it's a mixture of the university newsletter and followed by an audio. So in the exam, you will see on your computer screen a newsletter, a sort of picture of a newsletter in which, some words will be written. You will get time of 50 seconds to read that, which is then followed by an audio. In that audio, it will last for approximately 1 minute 30 seconds. Now, what you will see in this image is university has made some changes. For example, the university has some laundry application, right? And it has made recent changes that students can, wash their clothes on time, etc. These sort of things will be written in the newsletter. You have to read that from the image given, and then afterwards, you need to listen to the audio. Now, what is there in the audio? In the audio, you will listen to students talking to each other regarding the newsletter. They are basically discussing this newsletter in the audio. So students will be giving their views, whether they like the suggestion or they don't like the suggestion. When you're responding, you need to take care that your response is again an amalgamation or a mixture of what you read and what you heard. You should focus more on what you heard. And when you're responding, you should, in the recording, of course. So after you are done reading, as well as the audio is finished, you'll get a preparation time of like only 30 seconds. And in that, you will be like preparing in your mind that this is what I'll speak. Again, wait for the beep sound. As soon as you hear the beep sound, you'll have to start answering. Do not speak before that because nothing is recorded. Only after the beep sound you should speak, because only then your response will be recorded. So for example, this is how a sample response of second question will be. You will be getting 60 seconds to speak, and you must speak for 60 seconds itself. This is really very important. For 1 minute, basically, you have to speak. A sample response would be, look, so as I read, the university is going to make changes in the laundry application used by students when they return after the fall. That's a sort of semester they have in, overseas countries. The laundry application will be having two additional features. It will notify students about when they need to go for washing and when they should remove clothes from their washing machine. On this, students in the audio, like they will discuss that, yeah, the laundry application, they are happy with the changes, and as of now they will go to wash clothes only when the machines are available. And moreover, this is the connector we have used. Moreover, sometimes they forgot to take their clothes from the machine. With the help of these new features in the laundry application, they will be more comfortable, because like they will be notified with the help of that application. And in other words, students really liked the idea. They really liked the suggestion given in the newsletter. In the newsletter, the university, some authorities from the university has said that they like that they're going to start these changes in the laundry application, and then students will say that, yeah, we like the changes, because sometimes what happens is, if we are going to the washing area, what we see is machines are already occupied by the students, and then we don't have time, so we have to wait a lot. But with this new application, they will be having, already they know that when we go to the washing area, we'll having the machines available. Secondly, they will be notified also if they forget. For example, sometimes what they do is like they put the clothes and then they forget, they come back, and then They start studying or doing other things, or they go for lunch and then they forget to take clothes from the washing machine. So but with these new changes, students will be aware that, yeah, like we need to remove clothes now, it's the time. So they'll get a sort of reminder on their phone. So students overall like the idea. So this is how you should speak the response. Now the response is again really very important for us. Why so? Because we need to make sure that we are speaking naturally again. You are using good connectors. For example, so, as I read, so, as I read, basically, this is what students wanted to say. This is what is a good connector, moreover, and this is how you should use connectors when you are speaking. And again, don't speak like a robot. Speak naturally by taking pauses. The university is going to make changes in the laundry application used by students when they return after the fall. So when there is a full stop, I'm taking a small pause, very little pause, and then afterwards I'm starting again. When they return after the fall, my comma, and this comma again indicates that I have to take a little pause and then I'll start again. So this is how you should naturally be responding to the question. That's all about the second question. So in this video, we learn about the third question in TOEFL speaking, how it basically happens. Again, in the second question, we talked about that there's going to be a picture followed by an audio. Similarly, in third question as well, the same pattern will be followed. You will see a picture for 45 seconds, which is then followed by an audio. And again, the audio will last for 1 minute 30 seconds. Now, what is the difference in second and third question now? In third question, they will give you a topic to read, which is then followed by an audio. The audio will be an example of what you read. This is the difference between second and third question. In third question, I'm explaining again, you will see a picture. Again, something is written, a topic will be, introduced to you, and then in the audio, there will be an example, like the speaker will give you an example of the same what you have read. Like, for example, one of the recent questions again that came in the exam is about autogenic succession. In the picture, you will see what is the meaning of autogenic succession. Response time here is again 60 minutes, 60 seconds. You'll have to speak for 1 minute in the audio. Like once after you hear the beep sound, you should start speaking. So in autogenic succession, it is a phenomena which occurs naturally in plants. This is how you introduce the topic. When you start answering in 60 seconds, this is how you introduce the topic. That what you have read. I've read that autogenic succession is a phenomena which occurs naturally in plants, and it seems to benefit the ecosystem. Like one or two lines you can pick from the that picture that that you have seen, that you have read, the short paragraph that you have read. You can take introduction lines from that paragraph. It happens when the climate conditions of a certain place change automatically. For example, the speaker gave an example of pine trees. This is where second and third question again are different from each other. You need to give an example because the speaker will give you the example of what you have read. So for example, the speaker or the lecturer or the professor, any of the words you can choose, he gave an example of pine trees. As their needles fall on the ground, certain similar conditions make the soil wet and shady. However is basically a connector that we use to connect two contrasting sentences. It was dry earlier. These climate conditions are suitable for the growth of oak trees and not pine trees. So naturally, autogenic succession will make it possible within like 100 years or something for the growth of oak trees, and the whole forest will be of oak trees and not the pine trees. So autogenic succession is basically, it's a phenomena in which, in any forest, for example, if there are trees, pine trees growing for many, many years, automatically they will stop growing after some time. Like this is all natural process that happens. You will read it. You'll get to know once you're reading that, and then the speaker will give the example of these pine trees and oak trees. So you need to look at the image, read it properly, understand it, and then afterwards listen to the audio very, very carefully. Listen to what speaker says, and then just you have to, read the response. You have to speak it naturally. Again, do not speak like a robot, speak very naturally. Like autogenic succession is a phenomena which occurs naturally in plants and it seems to benefit the ecosystem. Now, one very important point here is sometimes some words we cannot read or we cannot pronounce. For example, succession is one such word which we cannot pronounce properly. If you feel that any such word you cannot pronounce properly, in the audio, the speaker already said that. So make sure that you're reading it a bit and then afterwards you're listening to the audio so that you know the correct pronunciation of that word. Still, if you feel that you cannot pronounce the word, just don't speak it. Just say organic succession or something. Just skip the word and say other words confidently. Take pauses in between. Make sure to take pauses in between, and that's how you have to, you know, continue speaking it. And at the end, you can say that, hence we can say that orogenic succession is a phenomena in which plants, the whole forest becomes new with the oak trees, and then there are no more pine trees, and this is how the progressions take place. And hence we can say that, like, somehow you have to end it. Like when you see that there are 50 seconds completed, try to end the audio also, starting with what you have read, then afterwards, the speaker will give an example of something. Finally, you're concluding it. Hence, we can say that. And all these three things we have to do within 60 seconds. As we learned that TOEFL has 4 questions, this is the final question we have. Now, in this question, we need to see that there is going to be only audio which will last for 2 minutes. There is no picture, no image, no statement. You will listen to an audio. The audio will last for 2 minutes. Now, the good thing is it doesn't have so many topics. Mostly these audios revolve around 2 topics. Either the topics will be around business or will be around animals or plants, like advantages of any business or disadvantages. Or when it comes to the audios related to animals or plants, they will talk about the adaptations plants have or animals have, like how they adapt themselves. The word adaptations or adapt means changing yourself according to the environment. This is what happens. We all change ourselves according to the environment. Similarly, plants and animals also have to change themselves according to the environment. So, what this lecture will be all about, the lecture will be about some sort of plants or animals who will change themselves according to the environment so that they can survive for a longer period of time. Same goes with like both plants and animals. Same goes with any species on the planet Earth. We have to change ourselves according to the situation. So similarly, the speaker, the lecturer will be giving conversations, not a conversation, but yeah, it's just going to be a lecture. Lecture means only one speaker will speak. In second audio also, it's only second audio, we have 2 speakers. Third question, we have only one speaker. Fourth audio, fourth lecture, again, only one speaker. So, for example, if the audio is about adaptations by plants or animals, one such question would be around cave dwelling animals or plants. So if the lecture is about cave dwelling plants or animals, every species has to, get food source. Now, if there are plants, for example, who live in caves, if plants are in the outer world, they can easily get oxygen, carbon dioxide, right? But if they live in caves, they will not get enough carbon dioxide. So if they don't get carbon dioxide or sunlight, how will they prepare food? So maybe you will hear the audio that the lecture is about cave dwelling plants, and in which, then the speaker will be talking about how they get maximum, sunlight to which further, helps them to prepare food. Because like these are the basic things we know, that when photosynthesis happen, we need sunlight, like not we but plants need. So this is how the audio will go on, and then finally when you are speaking the response, this is how the response will sound like. The lecture was about, like, whatever you have heard, you should always start it with sort of introduction. The lecture was about cave dwelling plants, in which firstly the lecturer talked about 2 types of adaptations plants have to go through in order to survive. First of all, the speaker talked about how they receive sunlight from the entrance, and the only way for them to get the maximum sunlight, because from the entrance of the cave they will get the maximum sunlight. So this is how you will talk about the first type of adaptation. Then the second type of adaptation is the number of chloroplasts they're going to have, the dwelling animals have. The number of chloroplasts are going to be on the entrance of the cave so that they can receive the maximum sunlight, and with the help of chloroplast, they can get the maximum sunlight again because they're green in color. So this helps them to prepare food properly. And then finally, you should say that, yeah, so these are the two types of adaptations the speaker talked about, and then she'll give some examples also. When you listen to the audio, you will get to know about the examples also of some plants who go through these kind of adaptations. And finally, she concluded by saying that cave dwelling plants use these two types of adaptations to survive or in order to get their food. So this is how you should answer the whole question. An introduction is there in which you will say that firstly the speaker talked about this and this, and then afterwards she talked about this and this. The first point was about this, followed by an example. Second point, one sentence followed by an example, then finally a short conclusion of one or two sentences. The lecturer concluded by saying that cave dwelling plants have two types of adaptations, which are this and this, and that's it. Then you're done with the answer. Again, 2 minutes for the question, but only 1 minute to answer. Again, 60 seconds to respond. And that's all about question number 4.